Go. Hello and welcome to IQ session number 88. 88.
Ooh, we are close to 90.
I got the number right and I got the number of fingers right this week.
Oh, you did?
That is a win. Go me. Thank you.
Look at us go. We celebrate everything in this household.
We do. Tonight is all about how to get your fitness mojo back. Now, there may be a few reasons why you're missing or in lack of mojo when it comes to fitness. And that could be A, injury. It could be B, holidays. It could be C,
COVID.
It could be D, you've already hit a goal and you haven't set another goal. Quite often people, when they have a big goal to achieve, after they hit it, they get this post-goal depression because they then haven't set a goal for the next challenge.
Being there, sister.
And then they're kind of like in this idle kind of spot and like, what's next? What do I do?
Bodybuilders are big ones for that. They tend to work their butt off for a long time, get on stage for like a couple of minutes of glory under the big lights with the fake tan on, look amazing. Then they overeat for the next week and then they're fat for the next few weeks and they feel like, what was the point?
Yeah, and all that hard work.
It's actually called a post-comp depression. So, and much like most people, when they set a goal and they achieve a goal, after they've done that, if they haven't recalibrated that goal for something new or a bigger challenge, then they have the depression.
I feel like you're giving away all like the
points
in the intro.
Yeah.
All right, we're done. Good night. So yeah, we're talking about how to get your mojo back, because it might have waned a little bit. And first of all, I want to address that motivation is like a fad diet. It's only good for a very small amount of time. So we can't rely upon motivation to keep us going. So that's why we need our mojo. That's why we need to get in our groove, and we need something to keep pulling us back.
Yeah.
When motivation dies a little, it's very deep.
And we believe that the first thing you need to start the fitness mojo Kickstarter, kick up the backside, whatever you want to call it, is you need perspective.
Yes.
You need perspective on your life and where you are, because quite often we come to a slump because we feel like, I've done it all or whatever, and we get a bit lazy.
Or if you're a female, you look in the mirror and you're like, I'm so fat.
Same as us men, we do it. We do it.
But first of all, we want to see it as we are, not worse than we are and not better than we are. This is perspective 101. Yeah. So first of all,
all right. So perspective is, it's almost like a gratitude check-in, if that makes the most sense. So being grateful for where you are currently, because there are people out there who are way worse than you are. The friend that we're staying with at the moment, her friend right before Christmas got hit off his motorbike by a drunk driver in a car coming the other way. His perspective or her perspective now is like, wow, she has some challenges going on with her body currently that she's working through. But at the same time, her friend, who was perfectly fine right before Christmas and the day before Christmas, gets knocked off the motorbike. Now there's some big perspective. Like, you can't be ungrateful for where you're at when this person now was spent time in hospital, can't get out of bed, all this sort of stuff.
You probably know someone that's in a wheelchair, like, let's put it into like real big perspective. We can move, we can, whatever your situation is, there's probably someone that's a little bit worse off than you. Yeah, there's people that are better off, but there's a lot more people that are worse off. So let's see where you're currently at right now. And a good way to do that is, first of all, can you move your limbs? If that's a yes, let's be grateful for that. Cool. Next one is, we've got a little fitness test for you to be able to do to kind of really put it into perspective where you're currently at right now.
We call this a pulse check. So basically this comes down to, it's a bit in your face. It's kind of like, if you're lacking mojo for exercise, the easiest way to start with is you. And we find that if you just strip down naked, not in front of us, in your own time, in front of the mirror,
please
stand there. And if you look in the mirror and you see pure happiness and bliss in what you're seeing, you're happy with where you're at, Awesome. Congratulations. Maybe you don't need the motivation that you're looking for from an aesthetic point of view. Because the next part of this pulse check is a little bit different, is you're going to go out and do, which we're going to post shortly, probably tomorrow, a little test that people can go do. And it's just a little fitness perspective test. So it's not crazy hard, but it could be really hard depending on where your fitness level is at. Now, what you get there is you get an aesthetic bit of a pulse check to see where you're at. Scale
Feedback.
of 1 to 10, direct feedback. Mirrors are very good like that. Can't hide from it. If you want to go extra tasty and extra saucy on the mirror, sit down on a chair.
Yeah.
You don't get to suck it all in standing up and, oh, I'm okay, I'm all right in this
Get
light.
in the right angle.
Yeah, but sit on a chair, sit side on, and then go, am I really happy? And breathe in and out for 5 minutes before you take it, because you'll get over sucking it in for 5 minutes.
I can guarantee you will put on your runners and you will go for the run after that.
And the fitness component of it is a snapshot of where you are physically in the current state that you're in right now. Regardless of your motivation, you're at a level of fitness. You need to see, are you happy with that one? If you're not going to have the motivation to do anything, you need to make sure you're damn well happy with where you're at right now. Because if you're not, you've only got yourself to blame. So you need a bit of a kickstart. If the aesthetic thing in front of the mirror doesn't do it for you and it's not enough of a boot up the backside, then you come to the fitness side of things and you just test your ability to maybe run a kilometer.
Yeah, see how fast you can run that, or walk it if you can't run it. Honestly doesn't matter. If you're injured, maybe hop on like a kayak or something if you've got a sore ankle, whatever it might be.
Yep.
There's other ways around it, or on a bike, exercise bike at a gym, doesn't matter. How many push-ups can you do? Can you do a chin-up? How strong are you? Kind of get an idea of where you're currently at right now.
One of our members, Shane, he came to me one time and I said, he's got a busted knee, had knee reconstruction. He did no rehab. He got the he was training with us, got the rehab. We never saw him again for probably the better part of the 2 years, I reckon, close to 2 years. So he should have been away rehabbing. He should have been doing all that stuff. He did nothing. He went back to work. It was not healed. It was no better than it was. It kept getting injured when he was working. So he didn't do himself any favors. So his fitness level from an ability point of view was very low. He'd had the reconstruction, which should have given him full ability to go and live life again. He didn't do the bridging part to get him where he needed to be. And then he came back and goes, I need to get my knee fixed. I need to get it stronger. So we're like, cool, we can help you. I said to him, why do you want to do it? Because you had all this time before and you still didn't do it. Now you choose to. And he goes, I was at the park the other day and I realized that if someone took my kid and ran off with them, I couldn't chase him. Instant motivation, perspective, and a pulse check for him was instant. That's all he needed to turn up week in, week out. He didn't have full mobility. It took him a long time to get that mobility. But the drive for him, the perspective for him was, if someone stole my kid, I better be able to chase them. And I need to be able to give my best effort and not let my knee blow out because of me being the factor in it. Because
if you're saying that you've lost motivation to start, motivation is great to get us started. We just can't rely upon us to keep us in the zone. But if you're looking for motivation, you just got to look hard enough, because you'll find reasons like that. Someone, it's no one tried to pinch his kid, but it was just a great thought for him to have, to go, what if something happened? I couldn't do anything about it. So if you look hard enough, you will find these things to give you great sense and a force of motivation. That's for sure.
And everyone's different, but that was just a nice different look at a kickstart for that person. Third step, obviously most people would start with this one, but we like to put the perspective in first. Get a pulse check of where you're at before you set a goal, which is the third one, set a goal. Because the reality is that without a goal...
Sorry, if you just missed that, number 3 is set a goal.
That's it. And the reason for it is, if you don't have a goal, you're just aiming, you're wandering around aimlessly. There's no point to anything. So you are going to lack motivation, because what's the point? So if I go to the gym every day and I just turn up because it's nice and it's easy, it's part of my routine, there's a purpose to it. Of course, it makes me healthier and stronger. But if I don't have a purpose while I'm in there, I can piss ass around and do nothing, and I can say I went to the gym.
Yeah, and it's easier if you don't have a goal to not show up.
Yeah.
Because there's no real driving force to get you there.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're regular at showing up, that's sensational, and there's nothing wrong with that. And we say high five, but there's a very small percentage of you that are like that.
Yeah. And there's too much room for error in there if you're just turning up for the sake of turning up. But have like hats off to you, because you do keep showing up, and eventually you'll find the goal. So you should never stop exercising. That should just be a non-negotiable, regardless of if you're in the zone or not. The difference is we're just looking for a way to kickstart you, to rocket you forward, and that comes down to having a goal that stimulates you and scares you. Like you don't know how you're going to achieve it. We've got a half Ironman to do sometime this year. We don't know when that's going to happen, but we do know that it is going to be a scary event because it's long, it's hard, like we're doing the training for it, and it's hard work. And this is the training side of it, the effort, what we've got to put all these things together. So our goal does scare us, but it excites us at the same time, because if we do not do the work, and I've done this before, and you go to a big ass event, which I set a goal, I'm going to do an Ironman, but I didn't do any of the work leading up to it. The Ironman was tough as hell. I still did what I set out to do, but I didn't enjoy it like I could have enjoyed it by doing all the work leading into it. So the goal has a date attached to it, which gives you a focal point to keep your focus to that date. Okay. So that's what we're up to. The third step is set a goal, put a date to it, and make sure it scares you. Not a nice little, I'd like to do a fun run. Unless the fun run scares the hell out of you doing it, then awesome. But if you've done them before and they don't typically scare you and you're not overly stimulated, choose something that's going to stretch you a little bit more.
Go the longer distance.
Yeah. Do it backwards. Mix it up a little. I don't know. Just do something that scares you a little, Topless maybe. No. Too far.
You're really talking about nakedness a lot tonight. I'm a bit worried about you.
All right. Number 4 is you need to find accountability. So you need accountability people in your life. Now, this one here, we were chatting about it briefly before we started. I believe it needs to be accountability outside your family.
Yes.
It needs to be someone else who isn't going to bend if you're in a grump. Like, if you snap at them and they go, oh, I'm not going to go down that road. You need someone who doesn't buy into that crap and they just hold you to what you said you're going to do. So you need someone outside the family union. Like you can say, oh, but my husband's really good. I want someone different.
No, because you'll hold it against your husband.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's what you do. No. It's all coming making sense.
This is like therapy for us. Someone that you'd be scared to give an excuse to, and someone that's not going to take an excuse. So that's someone you need to find for your accountability, but also get yourself a buddy, get yourself a training buddy, so that if you say I'm going to rock up to boot camp 5 days a week, you tell your training buddy, they're going to rock up too. So when you wake up in the morning, you don't go, oh, I'm just going to go back to sleep. You go, no, I've got to show up because my training buddy's going to be there. And they're going to be pissed if I'm not there too. They've gotten up because I've gotten up, etc. And
if you want to level that up, what you do is you go and pick them up. You carpool. So the other one's expecting you to turn up. So all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh, they're knocking on your door, beeping on the horn. So it forces you to do something, and you just take turns at driving, and you'll find that that's it.
Not on the same trip, like alternate days.
Yeah. Get out at each stoplight. My turn.
Run around the car.
Easy. So
it is a game, apparently.
Accountability is number 4, and number 5. This is the last point of all of them. Is you need to have a goal past the goal.
Yes. So we're talking about this very start about post-comp depression. You need to have a goal post the goal, even before you've hit the goal. Don't wait to finish your initial goal to then find a new goal to set. During the process, you need to know what comes after that, because you need to be able to get back on the horse.
Yeah. And one of our dear members, Jamie, he right back when he first started, he said to me, he goes, I want to do a 5K run. That was his first goal that he ever set. He wasn't a runner, had no interest in doing it, but he started at the gym and all these people were doing events and he got excited by it. So he committed to doing a 5K run. The 5K run turned into the 10K run, the 10 turned into a 15, 15 into a 21, 21 to a 42 and a half.
He's now training for a 70K in the Alpines.
So he got the bug, but he would set a goal, an event to an event. So I said him, once he did his 5 and he goes, I'm going to do a 10. But he booked a 10 and then he paid for the 15, the one after. He was so good at these next events, he'd just buy the ticket. And then he was hooked in. So once he finished one, he celebrated for a brief period of time, and then he just committed to the next one. He's probably the most committed to a running event structure I've ever seen. And he'd book an event from an event. So he'd finish it, and the next one was already ready to go. Then he'd get the next one ready, and he'd get the next one. So he had a plan for a year in advance, I reckon. You reckon stuff? Yeah. So make sure that you have that goal after the goal. And just having that extra one will allow you to kick on longer.
And it doesn't have to be like another running goal after the running goal.
No.
It can be something totally different, but just have something else to help with that driving force to make sure that you get up and do the work and do what you need to do.
Exactly. All right, we're going to recap this real quick one tonight. Number one, perspective.
Number two.
Hang on a second. Recap the perspective, Sherry.
Okay, sorry.
Give yourself perspective around people that you know, and don't think it's rude and judgy. Be grateful for where your body is at, regardless if you're happy with where it is currently. Just remember, there's probably someone in a wheelchair, paralyzed somewhere. Maybe they've just had an accident. Maybe they're bedridden. Maybe they can't get out of the house. Whatever the reason is, give yourself a gratitude checklist of where you are at compared to someone else. And just know that your position is better than their position. So do not take it for granted, because much like our friend that we're staying with, much like her friend who was just riding his bike like he would normally do, nothing wrong, wasn't speeding, wasn't cutting corners. A drunk person comes around the corner,
7 a.m.
took
on a
him
Sunday
out.
morning.
And it's nothing to do with him. That is the same as your life. You may not have anything to do with the situation that may come and interfere with your ability to be able to be functioning. So take for granted where you're at right now and treat it as a blessing, not a inconvenience.
And in that perspective one too, we can't it's impossible for us to be pissed off and negative if we're in a grateful state. If you're saying gratitude and thankful for your body that moves and thankful for where you are right now, yes, it might not be where you want to be, but for where you are right now, again, in comparison to people that are paraplegics or, there's some people that are much worse off than you. If you're grateful, it's actually physically impossible to be pissed off.
Number two, pulse check time. Get in the nud, sit in the front of the mirror, and have a quick snapshot of where you're at from an aesthetic point of view. Are you happy?
Now's the time to get pissed off.
Are you happy with what you see? Scale of 1 to 10. 1 meaning, oh my God, I would never do that. I don't want to sit in front of the mirror. And we say sit because when you sit, you're posturally pretty bad, which means everything clumps and rolls out in front of you. It's pretty easy to grab a quick snapshot and you can't hide. When you stand up, you can suck in and pretend like the lighting's perfect on this angle facing the sun on the side of the house.
Speaking of which, our lighting is totally on.
That's why we're wrapping it up. So basically, that's an easy way. If you're 1 to 10, if you're 10 and you look and you go, put me on the cover of a magazine, I'm ready. Awesome. You don't need to focus aesthetically on what you want to look at. If you're not happy with it, automatically you got a bit of a kick up the arse already to get going. Second one is a fitness snapshot of where you're at right now, because maybe aesthetically you look great, but maybe fitness-wise you're pathetic.
And because remember, the mirror doesn't have a filter.
Nope. The fitness side of things is just max efforts, like 1K runs as fast as you possibly can. Are you happy with that time you got? Can you do all your push-ups on your toes? If you can't, maybe that's a goal for you. Maybe you always wanted to do a chin-up. Maybe you can do 1 chin-up and you want to do 10 chin-ups. Have a snapshot of your fitness capability and are you happy? Scale of 1 to 10. If you're not, boom, tap into it. Get into it, make that happen. Number 3, set a goal. Make sure it's a scary ass goal, one that stretches your mind a little bit. You don't quite know how you're going to fit it.
And it could be one like, wearing a bikini at the beach. If you're currently that scares the shit out of you, maybe that's a good one.
I'm a fan of doing it, but I'm thinking I'm going to get there this year, Sheridan. I think it's time I just brave it. Little wedgie up the backside and down the...
Why did you have to go to a G-string bikini?
I thought extremes. People remember, there's visual people out there going, oh my God, never do I want to see that.
You in a G-string, and I don't want to see that either.
Set that goal. Make it a scary one. Set a date to it. The date gives you accountability on its own.
They say a goal without a date is just a dream.
Oh, it really is. Number 4, accountability. Number 4 is accountability.
And a training buddy.
Accountability is find someone that holds you to it outside your family unit. Don't use local internal stuff because it creates confliction and it creates a friction amongst your relationship, which you don't need to have. So don't put that pressure on it where it doesn't need to be. Put it on someone else where they're happy to be a pressure on you to make sure that you do what you said you're going to do.
Because even for us, having each other, we're both training for a half Ironman, so our training's pretty much the same. So both of us hold each other accountable. There's some nights I'm like, oh, I really will just stay quiet. And if Matt doesn't say anything, we won't do it. And then he'll step and it's like, come on, get your gear on, we're doing our bike. It's shit.
So that's great, but we're using internal, right? So this is fine. This is
the training buddy side of things.
So this is okay. We've got this thing going, but we've got a coach we're accountable to.
Oh.
He checks our workouts every day. If he's not getting it, he sends us text messages going, this doesn't look good. And then we're like, oh, we've been seen. And then we re-engage if we've missed a couple of sessions.
So we have to think of an excuse.
So
we got none.
So we don't rely on us to do it because we clearly will flex if we're both not in the right mood.
Yeah.
But knowing he's watching is enough for us to do it and kickstart off again instead of letting it go for 2-3 weeks at a time. So accountability, find that buddy. Like we said, carpool if you have to. And number 5, which is a simple one, set a goal past the goal. So if you do 1, set 2. And you know that once you've achieved this goal, the next one's already in place. And maybe the end goal is the bikini on the beach, but the goals before it are, I want to run a 10-kilometer under such and such minutes. I want to do a bodybuilding competition and such, a powerlifting competition, whatever it is. You might do multiple goals for the end goal. That is the dream of the dreams.
Certainly is. And going on from last week, which was about a 7-day challenge about doing the tasks each day to get you to your goal. That's a good one to incorporate into this whole Mojo thing, is to hold yourself accountable to tasks every day that will get you towards your goal too. And those kind of things will help you get your mojo back. It's like kickstarting, kickstarting a motorcycle. Sometimes you just have to kick it and kick it and kick it, and then it goes. That's the kind of thing you need to do with putting the tasks into place, is start committing to these tasks and doing them each day to hold yourself accountable till eventually the engine takes off. Everything's a lot easier to do. The motivation comes back because you've started.
Another one that's a little secret sauce on the top there. Turn your radio off on the way driving anywhere. No radio, don't, because that's depressing as all hell anyway. But on that radio, your pump up tunes, like whatever that is on the way to the gym, crank them, like blast them as loud as you'd possibly love to blast them. If you like it quiet, have it quiet. But if you don't, put that jam on that gets you going and gets you raging. So that by the time you get there, the heart rate's up, the juice is flowing, you walk in the gym and you just smash it like a boss. You get back in the car, you crank the sounds on the way home, smash some water down, have a nice healthy lunch, and all of a sudden you're ready to go again. Your day kicks off on the right way. Music is a really great thing to elevate you to a place where you want to go, because you remember a song, a moment attached to a song. That is the connection you have with it. There'll be association in there that will be a memory, and the memory will be what you need to kick on.
What's the association to your pump up song of I'm a Barbie Girl?
It was me hanging out with all the ladies. It wasn't. Barbie Girl.
I know. I was trying to think of something like really corny.
There's nothing wrong with that song. It's a classic, by the way. And I'm going to go play it after this. Easy. But those simple little things, that's all it takes. Don't overcomplicate motivation. Like, I'm lacking my mojo, I'm looking for it. You're not really. You're just lacking a goal and perspective. That's the reality of it.
Just get started.
Get some accountability. Have a rough pulse check. Be aggressive. Assess yourself ruthlessly. Set a goal and rip into it, and find like-minded people to help you get there.
But also, I just really want to readdress this, is that we brush our teeth once to twice a day, depending on how good your dental hygiene is. Should be twice a day. We brush our teeth twice a day, but we do that every day so that we avoid cavities and yellow teeth and all the rest of it. Exercise isn't an optional part of life. Exercise is a necessity. It's like eating good food. It's like eating food and drinking water. We actually need to do it. We need to exercise. So regardless of what your goal is, stop stopping the exercise because you're not somewhere, or you're not, don't have a goal or anything like that. Exercise needs to become a non-negotiable. The type of exercise can change, and how you exercise can change for sure. And the amount and the intensity, yes, but every day we need to be moving our bodies like we love ourselves, because we've been given this beautiful gift to be on earth, to be alive, to be in these magnificent bodies that are just incredible. Like, for God's sakes, women, we can grow another baby. We can grow another human. That's amazing. So
then we don't have to.
Let's respect that house that we live in, our bodies, and give it back what it actually needs. So just remember that exercise is a necessity to life.
Easy. All right, we're done.
Dropping the mic.
We've wrapped that 3, 4, 5 different ways, the same point across.
And we're going to wrap it up again.
All right.
Anyway,
thank you, legends.
Thank you guys for listening. We so appreciate you. We will see you next week. If you ever have any topics you would like us to discuss, please let us know. But feel free to share this with anyone who needs to hear this. Thank you guys for listening. Mwah. We love you.
See you guys.